First video of 2025, we're going to talk about the concept of definiteness of purpose. Now, this is a concept from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which if you know me, you know that I love all of Napoleon Hill's work. He's one of my favorite teachers. Now, I am getting really clear in 90 days to done right now about what the first quarter looks like and making sure that it is aligned with my definiteness of purpose. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've talked a lot about definiteness of purpose before, but I just got this huge insight in a way that I've never been able to define it or see it. So I want to share that with you. I want to take you back to when I decided to get a bachelor's degree, right? When I decided to go to school and I decided to be a military officer. I was taking 6 classes a semester. That's how I finished a bachelor program in 2 years. And that was 18 credit hours. It was working, had the kids, of course. And there was this, there was just this clear line of sight. I had an actual definiteness of purpose, which back then, of course, I didn't know any of that concept or any of that verbiage, but I can see now that I was so locked in to that version of me of who I was becoming as an Army officer and as someone who had completed college and had a degree. There were so many things that happened along that journey from when I made that decision until when I reached that finish line, right? Which was, I think it was on May 15th, 2015. And it's interesting because it didn't matter what got in the way. And that's the difference from having a goal and having a definiteness of purpose. Because so many of us negotiate with our goals when we're like, oh, we're not seeing the results, or let's just like go in this new direction, or now we have this new idea and we're gonna do this. That's the difference between a goal, and that is the difference between a definiteness of purpose. When you have a clear definiteness of purpose of who you are and where it is that you're going, there is no one and there is nothing, trust me, that can get in your way between you and that finish line. There's just not. And along my way, many of you know my journey and my story. And the very first hurdle was my physical body. I had 20 pounds that I had to lose before I could even join the Army, right? Because I went enlisted and then I went to become an officer. So I had to do the work to lose that 20 pounds. And it didn't matter how hard it got. I was in San Antonio, Texas. I had one of those sauna, it looked like a plastic bag bodysuit, and I would go and walk, and then I could go and jog, and then eventually I could go and run without it. So I had to do the mental work, right? Align myself with the mindset to allow me to lose 20 pounds before I could even join the Army because I was overweight. Then before that, then after that, I go and I'm going through school. I'm missing out on birthdays. I'm missing out on events and parties, and none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was taking care of my kids and getting my homework done. Because remember, I was taking 6 classes a semester. And we didn't have AI back then, so I had to do all of that mental work here, writing all those papers out. So it didn't matter. I did that. I was so locked in. Anybody that knew me knew that don't invite me to go anywhere because I'm not going to do it. I was not willing to put anything or anyone in front of my definiteness of purpose, of getting a bachelor's degree and then getting a master's degree and then becoming an active duty Army officer. That's how I went from high school dropout to a distinguished military graduate with a master's degree in 5 years. Like, that's crazy. Now, when I went to basic training, there was more failure there. I didn't know any of it. I couldn't even march. I got in trouble because I couldn't march. And I failed basic training the first time because I couldn't shoot. I tried 26 iterations to try to qualify to shoot, and I just couldn't do it. That was week 8 of 10 in Army basic training, and back then it was a lot more stricter than it is today. And I had a choice was presented to me that I could either go home or I could start over and continue on. And so I made the very difficult but very aligned choice of, no, I'm going to finish what I came to do. And so I started all over with another company. That was it's all about mindset, right? It's all about your mindset. Because there was another woman that wasn't able to shoot either. I think that was the reason. Anyways, she ended up going home. So it's always here. It's in your mindset. And then I think about this journey of when I came back and I decided, hey, I'm going to be an Army officer now. And I am going to apply for ROTC scholarship for my master's degree, and I'm going to go that route. Again, there were so many things in the way. There were so many obstacles. There were so many ways, so many options, so many times that I could have made the choice to say, you know what, this actually isn't going to work for me and I'm not going to do it. But I was so locked in to that finish line of where I was going. It was my definiteness of purpose that it didn't matter whether I didn't know how to plan a raid, whether I didn't know how to plan an ambush, which I didn't. And I remember going to the field for the first time and failing. And I decided right then and there, that's never going to happen to me again. So I got a mentor, one of the guys that was in the infantry for many years, who trained me and mentored me on how to lead an ambush, how to conduct a raid. So the next time we went out, that didn't happen to me again. Then I had to go to LDAC back then, and we had to do this leadership development assessment course, maybe that's what it's called. And you can get a go or a no-go. And when I was there, I got an E. There's only a certain percentage of cadets that actually get that. E is like for excellent that you get. And that actually landed me as a distinguished military graduate. So I made top 10% of all my peers in the nation. I want you to think about that journey, because 4.5 years before that, I was a high school dropout still. I was 21 years old. I didn't even have a high school diploma. That's crazy. I left school in sophomore year. So this is the power of your mindset, and especially when you pair that with the definiteness of purpose and you tell your brain, you train your brain where you're going. It doesn't matter how many times you fail or what gets in the way, you're going to get to that finish line. Now, when I say that no one and nothing could have gotten in my way, I really do mean that, because when I came back from LDAC, and 6 months before I commissioned, my husband died in a motorcycle accident. When that happened, I was given the choice again because of those circumstances, and I was about to go active duty. The Army said that I could change my mind. And a lot of people had some thoughts on that maybe I should, because then you're going to be a single mom and you're going to go out on active duty, and it's so hard. And even with that kind of circumstance, that is the most gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, in my opinion, the worst thing that you could experience as a human, it did not derail me from where I was going. That is why you need to have a definiteness of purpose locked in, because it doesn't matter what happens. There is no one and there is nothing that could get in the way of you reaching that finish line and getting there. That's an extreme example, but I want you to think about that. What is it that you want? Where is it that you want to go? Sell yourself on it. Build the belief on it. Tell your brain, give it direction. Use your 90 days to done workbook. Coach yourself. See that definiteness of purpose. See that finish line every single day, because your brain needs direction. There was nothing that changed for me outside of being that high school dropout teen mom on welfare. The only thing that changed was this idea in my mind that maybe I could create a different life. That was it. My mindset was the only thing that changed. And I just took you through a very brief journey of some of the things that happened along that. And it was mindset that got me there. It wasn't strategy. I was never the fastest. I was never the strongest. And yet I was always in the top 10%. How is that? It's because your mindset will take you, and you can run loops around the strongest, the fastest, all of that. Because if you have a vision here, no one can take that from you. There's nothing in no one. There's nothing in no one that can come in and try to remove you from the path that you're going on. So as you think about what it is that you want, you're setting up your 90-day goal, you're setting up your 90-day sprint. I want to just encourage you that you think about your definiteness of purpose and where it is that you want to go, so that you can get locked in. So this just clicked for me in a whole new way. And I'm going to revisit where it is that I want to go and make sure that I'm locked in like I was during that period of my life. Because I can tell you that getting a degree and becoming an Army officer was a non-negotiable for me. It was happening. It was happening. It was happening. And I've never in my life, I don't think I've ever been so locked in on anything other than those two things. And so now that I've kind of see it in a different way, it's why I'm sharing it with you. I'm so excited to see where we can go with this new insight, with this kind of motivation and excitement and remembrance of it didn't matter what got in the way. I was unwilling to let that go. I was already that Army officer. I was already that master's degree holder way before I ever was. And all I had to do was make sure that I stayed on the path and picked myself back up every single time I failed. So many times that's going to happen to you too. There's going to be so many times that you fail. There's going to be so many people that tell you, this is going to be a little bit easier. Don't go that way. If there's anything that you take from this message today, take the power of your mindset and set your definiteness on paper and make that non-negotiable, because that's who you already are. All right, I'll see you in another video. Happy New Year.